So there are Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists talking in my head. They'll say things like, "Oh, look how ugly you look." I just posted a video on YouTube, and they're like, "Look how fucking ugly you look. Look how much of your hair we made fall out. Haha, look, we stretched her face." Like, and like, "Oh, we made her look fat. Look how we like," and really like trying to make this something, like trying to emotionally like manipulate me into like going into something that is superficial. These bitches are serial killers. They're talking in my fucking head. They're serial killers. They made 90% of my hair fall out, and now they're calling me ugly inside my head because they want me to respond to it by saying, "Fuck you," middle finger in the mirror. Maybe if let's say the government who's investigating them were to be watching me from wherever they watch me from, right? And were to see me, then it looks like the terrorists have something to investigate. But the truth is, they're talking in my head and they're trying to start a dialogue to make it look as though they're investigating something that isn't there. They're trying to make it seem as though they're investigating something, but it's not there. It's them. They're the ones talking in my head, trying to fuel this like conversation to make it look like something it isn't. All this hurting me and abusing me is to see if they can get like all the hurt that like all like the constant poking at your feelings and laugh. Like one of them right now is laughing in my head. I'm so dizzy, by the way, and I'm so like it's so much strain on my brain. I like legit. It just I'm exhausted. And then look at my eyes, burning my eyes while I'm driving. They kept making me go cross-eyed. So, but going back to the whole like emotionally abusing their victims, so they'll hurt them like physically, okay? Like to the point where they stir them up and then they're like, "We're real people. We're fucking real people. Ha, fuck you, in their heads. Like they're doing to me. This is an organization of them, and they each have hold of like different people that they're doing the same thing. Their terrorist organization, they're like divided individual groups, and each group takes hold of a person, and they're doing the same exact thing that they're doing to me. They hurt and like physically, and they're causing injuries, like so that they could really fuel these like actual emotions out of you and get you to look like you're arguing with someone when you're not. They're arguing with the voices in their head. But some of these people, it's so sad, are so like they're so broken down that they don't realize that the terrorists want them to look like they're arguing with somebody else, and then they confirm it because they're too scared to admit that they hear voices in their head to say like it's happening in my head. They're actually too scared. Because the terrorists have made them think they're either going to take their kids, or think they're on drugs, or ruin their the bitch is talking in my head that they're causing me a stroke, brain damage. Okay, they're ruining their career opportunities. Like the terrorists just took control of my eyeballs and moved them around in like to every direction but where I was trying to focus. Luckily, oh my gosh, thank God, when you're on a freeway and you're on a straight shot, like your mind can only focus on where it needs its destination, right? It's like it needs to go straight. So if the piece of shits talking in my head are pulling my eyeballs in different directions, and I don't know if they realize this, or because they're trying so hard to get me to submit, or like trying to get me to say, my medication, because they want to exaggerate the circumstances. So I say the medications aren't working, and my doctor, who will then try another medication and then finally give up on me, right? But I don't know if the terrorists realize, like, hey, that is like a strange, if it were me, like the AI weapon, is programmed correctly, that would look kind of suspicious. Like, Renee's driving, something is actually manipulating her brain activity. This isn't like her mind isn't processing as smoothly as it should. I would assume that would be something on the report. And all their attacks are so fucking deliberate. Like, with me in particular, because I know what's going on, it's like there's absolutely no fucking way. If I die and that's when they get the records, or before, at whatever point that the government finally gets access to these records, and whether they prompt them to stop their investigations, or and that was the terrorist in my head. She's like, say prompt. They're making me throw up. If they were to like stop the investigations, God willing, before I die, or if they were to get the records after I die, I am making, like, it is so freaking clear that the terrorists the terrorists that are pretending to investigate me, okay, are clearly criminals. They're screaming in my head obscenities, saying violent things like, go fucking die. We want to watch you die, bitch. Fuck you, whore. And then it's like always when I'm like behind closed doors and there are no cameras around. Otherwise, they're trying to blend in with the environment. Like, well, and now they're saying like, well, who doesn't want to do that? Like, but they're talking in my head, so I'm constantly recording to make it clear. Like, they're talking inside my head. Why is it that I never see the person or the people that are talking, that their terrorists so-called claim are talking outside? That want to so-called, make claims that the voices I heard were coming out from outside. How come I never see them? I hear them so fucking loud and clear. So anyways, they're playing with my head. They're playing with my head, and I can't recall what I was saying. That's okay. I'm going to post it to YouTube, and then I'm going to post it to Facebook. I don't know where I was going. I mean, I know I'm always going with, like, I'm obviously every video I make about this is to pursue justice and get these investigations to end. These quote unquote investigations by these fucking psycho terrorists that are abusing and torturing me to death. What was I saying about the script? About the victims? The victims, just like me, I was saying that, they're playing with my head. I can't remember. Like I said, it's like they stop my processes from, like, just going down whatever path it was to get to like, speak my thought. I literally, they're messing with my fucking memory. They're laughing in my fucking head. I want them to die. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. So let me just keep talking. I might take a few minutes. That's fine. I want to get ready because my sister is hosting Thanksgiving breakfast, and then we're going to my cousin's house for dinner, so it's going to be a fun day tomorrow, and the terrorists want to take away from that. But anyways, the what was I saying about their terrorist organization? So they have like, God, I can't remember. It'll come back to me. I'm posting this to YouTube, and then I'm going to post it to Facebook. And I'll make another video when I remember where I was going with the groups. I can't remember what I was going to say, but it clearly, luckily, I had the thought before they blocked me from like being able to articulate it. So it was on my mind, and thank God it records. Thank you, God. I was saying, I know what's going on. So the terrorist talking in my head, like I record all day, I'll live stream, I go seek medical attention, like I'm not shy. I was saying, I remember now. So the groups, like these individual groups that take control, like they're using this weapon to traffic their victims. These terrorist groups take a hold of them, and then they'll start screaming obscenities, and they'll start screaming like, whatever, right? And they'll try to camouflage, and they'll try to do all this stuff to they're playing with my head again. She didn't, because they didn't think I was going to remember. To fight. Okay, so going back to that. They'll scream so that and they'll hurt them. They'll like they made my hair fall out. And they made me gain weight. And then I don't look as attractive as I did before. And the fucking psycho bitches are like, ha, you're so fucking ugly. You're so fucking ugly, stupid bitch. Ha, look at your hair. Because they want to arouse these feelings so you'll start screaming back at them. But then and I think I did mention this, then it'll look like if the government, because it seems as though the government's investigating these terrorists, which it's not even, it seems like they are. But they want it to look like they have a reason to investigate us. But it's just like, they want us constantly in this dialogue of like, fuck you, middle fingers, like throwing like gestures up and like being upset or crying all the time. Every second of the fucking day. And then mind you, and you know what I find hilarious is I mean, I think at this point with me, this is what I was saying. With me, I know what's going on. So the fight sounds like when they try to pretend, okay, like they're coming from outside. And I'm obviously like screaming, no, their voice, like their voices in my head. The voices are in my head because I start to panic, right? It's not like I'm talking to anybody. I just, out of panic, out of like freaking out, I start to scream. And it's obvious at that point because I'll start recording, I'll start making like videos, like those bitches are talking in my head, and I test them because I will sit there and continuously record to see if in fact they stop talking, because why the fuck would they sentence themselves to death? Why would they sabotage themselves? Like, why wouldn't they stop talking if I'm recording? And they can only go for so long before they have to talk again or torture me in some way. And so I discovered all this, and I'm like, okay, so I know how to somewhat clear these records. There's no way in fucking hell these terrorists they're gonna get away with murder. That's all as far as I'm concerned, they're done. And then luckily, like, I don't know what I was listening to music and just listening to, there's different like subliminal messages through the news channels, like through everything. And they're making it very clear they're after the terrorists talking in my head. They're after prosecuting them and sentencing them to death. However they see fit. But they want it to be like on a worldwide stage to make it clear that these are terrorists and they're affecting the lives of everyone, and everybody's country is being affected by it. So nobody cannot take part in voting to send these horribacks. That they don't want to argue. They want to make it clear. What affects one person affects everyone else. And that's legit the truth. If you see what they're doing to me, it hurts my daughter, it hurts my mom, it hurts my sisters, it hurts my neighbors, it hurts, like, they're fucking the bitches talking in my head are fucking psychotic, dude. So anyways, the other victims of the other people that are also experiencing what I'm experiencing don't realize the tactics that these terrorists are trying to play on them. So they'll hide, like, or they don't know to record, or they'll say that they're talking to someone on the phone and like confirm what the terrorists want like it to look like. She's laughing. You hear me stuttering? It's because they're playing with my head. That's a stroke. I'm having a stroke. And I'm telling you, they don't feel bad. I don't know them. I don't owe them shit. I don't know them. Like, the amount of hate they have for me is just because I want them sentenced to death for the crimes they've committed against me. And nobody fucking knows they're doing it. So it's like, why not just hurt me and just leave? Why not just murder me and just go? But they're like taking offense to it. It's very fucking odd, dude. Their behavior's so fucking odd. They're taking offense to it, and let me finish what I was saying. Offense, and they're becoming more and more abusive. But anyways, as far as the other people go, the other victims of these crimes that are being trafficked by these terrorist groups, okay, it's all one organized terrorist group, but they're all like divided into individual groups. They don't know to record. They don't know to say, I hear voices in my head. They don't know to admit that they're on medications that have been prescribed by doctors. They don't know like what to do. And they're just confirming what these terrorists, because the terrorists are trying, because it's obvious, they're doing whatever they want in my head. So no one's watching over them, like while they're conducting their investigation. They're watching them from the outside looking in. So they're watching their whereabouts, and they're watching what's happening with me. So their organizations, or their organization of people are manipulating the way these victims are to they're manipulating them into not discussing it so that they can't put our government can't put a stop to these investigations. They've manipulated them to like no end. The people are so broken and hurt and poor and whatever, and then they're like, oh, you need money to pay your rent, you better not fucking say anything. That's what they try to run on me. And I was like, bitch, I'm going straight to the hospital. Go fucking suck a fucking major dick, whore. Like, I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Like, if you go to the hospital, they're going to take your kid. And I did everything they told me not to do because I was just so... My daughter kept saying, Mom, you're schizophrenic. You're schizophrenic. And what relieved me was... so at first, I posted something to Facebook. And I was like, I hear voices in my head. And I felt relieved. I actually felt fucking relieved. And from that point on, it was like, okay, I'm not all that embarrassed to say I hear voices in my head. My daughter was like, Mom, you need to go, because I was talking so chronically to myself. She was like, you have schizophrenia, Mom. And then I would sit in my room and scream while my kids were in the other room. So do you know what these terrorists were obviously trying to do, right? They're trying to make it look like I'm screaming at my kids when I'm screaming at them, talking in my head. And I was like looking in the mirror and screaming. And then, of course, they didn't want me screaming in the mirror because that's suspicious if anybody were to audit their records. So they were like spitting and like making spitting noises and telling me I'm fucking ugly. Fuck you, this, that. And like it. And then it was like the men would sit there and start laughing like, oh my God, look at her boobs are saggy. Look at her fucking nose is turned down. Look at her vagina. Like, oh my God, she's so fucking hairy. Look at her old legs. Her veins are running down her legs. Oh, you old ass ugly bitch. Like trying to make me feel insecure in front of the mirror. Because they wanted me to scream with my kids like in the room with me and not like making it obvious that I'm talking to the terrorist talking in my head. And mind you, the thing I discovered about, and here, let me go back a little bit because I want to touch bases on the mirror situation. The terrorist talking in my head like a dumb bitch kept saying, we can see you. And they kept discussing how they can fucking see me and how ugly I was. And it just dawned on me like a ton of bricks. Like, I was like, the fucking whorebags can see through my eyes. There's a record. And that was kind of like a game changer for me. I got in the mirror, and that's when I would just argue in the mirror. But they were trying to break me down to get me to stay away from it so that they can manipulate the situation and make it look like and sound like it was voices coming from outside or something of that nature. Or maybe I got hacked or whatever they were trying to claim. Anyways, so my daughter was saying, Mom, you're schizophrenic, Mom. So I finally was like, you're absolutely right. Maybe a little bit of therapy will make me feel better. Like, despite the fact that I know that they're real, laying all this fucking shit on somebody is gonna feel good. And sure enough, I called the CAT team, and immediately they got me connected to a psychologist and a therapist and a psychiatrist and, like the whole nine. And I started feeling comfortable. And the terrorists talking in my head, they were like, they obviously didn't want that to happen, but that's when I realized, like, okay, these bitches really, what was it that happened that made that obvious to me? I'm a little bit everywhere. I'm trying to recall the timeline of events. Because I want you to understand how I came to my thought process and why things transpired and why it's like it's over for these terrorists as far as I'm concerned. Something with the something happened. What happened? When I got comfortable. Because I was like, oh, they can see me. Oh, there's a record involved. Oh, and then when they were like, they're drugging you. And I was like, oh, let me just give this, I was like, let me just give it a try. I had just ignored the voices. Like, I think I just ignored them. But then they got really, what was starting to make it obvious was when I started pursuing medical attention, they kept screaming